never give up. I never give up. I never give up.
Hi guys, welcome back to my Steps to Sobriety, my show on YouTube and as a podcast with me, your host, Stephan Neff. Today is a fantastic day for a cool interview because I've got Annie White with me. Annie is a woman whose topic is very close to my heart. We are talking about anxiety, those beautiful waves of neurochemicals that are washing over us. And you think, what the hell? And you just want to, depending on what your response to those waves is, you typically don't feel well. And they are beautiful. They are there for a reason. And we talk about that today, but they're just coming maybe a little bit too often in some of our lives. And let's see what we can do about that. Annie, welcome to my show.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here. It's a pleasure to be here.
Cool. I mean, let's be clear. You don't wake up when you're 8 years old and say, you know, Mummy, I know what I'm going to do. I will develop a method that reduces anxiety very effectively, and that's going to be my life. What do you think, Mum?
No, I said, Mom, I'm going to be Barbara Streisand.
Oh, excellent.
That's what, yes.
Really? Barbara? Ooh.
Oh, for sure. When I was 8, I was like, Barbara Streisand it is.
Does that include all the colors of the red for the nails and the lips? Do you have all the supply of, I don't know who she uses?
Yeah, I mean, I've loved her my whole life. I've always been a singer. So,
excellent.
Yeah, my little girl self would be very surprised that I've deviated from that track.
Priceless. Yeah, okay. Well, having said that, it's your chance of making it is about 1 in 10,000 if you're good as a singer or as a young rock band. So and that means that you're good, actually. But you obviously got a lot of passion out of it. And what did the singing do to you? Was the singing changing?
I studied it. Well, I studied it for a long time and I'm trained in opera. I just love it. I love doing it. But it was never something that I was willing to go hardcore and give everything else up. And, you know, all of my teachers were always like, Annie, did you practice? And I'm like, kinda. They're like, yeah, it's not a kind of thing, you know? So I loved it, but I didn't have the drive and the passion for it.
Okay. No, that's brilliant. But did the singing help you with anxiety? Did you have anxiety as a child?
Yes, I'm sure that I had anxiety as a child. And did it help me? Of course, because every time that you do something that you enjoy, you wire your mind to be calmer and happier, right? So yeah, definitely. Unless I was working on a song I really didn't like or something that a teacher was making me do.
Yeah, exactly. That's tricky, of course, but that's life. There are a lot of things you have to do that you maybe don't really like so much. And yeah, it is interesting. So there you were, this young, aspiring Barbara Streisand. And then later on, well, you know, what happened to you in life? Did you go, what was your professional career then?
Well, it was a circuitous route. So I tried a lot of different things. I even was in mortgage banking for a while. And then I went to school to become a doctor of Chinese medicine. Cool. And I loved it. Mm-hmm. And as a doctor of Chinese medicine, I saw how much stress was a factor, stress, anxiety. I think they're two of the same things on a spectrum, but stress and anxiety we're hurting people and hurting their health. So I started to think, and my training has me think about symptoms in terms of leading to the root cause, right? I don't care about symptoms other than what is causing them and how do we solve that? So I use that thinking towards stress. And I thought, okay, how do people get into this stress state? And once I found the science of the brain and neuroplasticity, I knew I was on to something. And that's what put me on this trajectory toward figuring out actually how to unwind or unwire the stress and anxiety in the brain.
Beautiful. When did this journey start?
the one with the neuroplasticity almost a decade ago. So a while ago. And it wasn't like I quit my job and I was only solely focused on it. But what I was doing was I was doing a bunch of research and trying to find tools for my patients that could really help them, you know? And on my path, I found a bunch of different rewiring tools, but I didn't find anything that was a step-by-step method that could rewire the mind. So I did it myself.
Did you do it
But
only for your patients, or did you do it also for yourself? There's always something that drives you. Okay, come on, let's be quite clear about that. So,
Fun.
why-
Okay, so let's go there. All right. So of course, I am the stress expert, quote unquote, at the time, right? Because I'm helping people with stress, right? Okay. Sure. I mean, I would never need those tools. Why would I need those tools? Who need me?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Right. Except, I mean, I probably need them before this, but I went through this really, really tough period where we moved and high stress caused me to lose my business. It caused my husband to walk out on me, and it almost caused me to take my own life. And it took that for me to say, oh my God, I need the tools. I mean, people have maybe called me a little bit stubborn in my life, and it could possibly be true. But case in point. But yeah, I finally realized, oh my gosh, like I really, really need to try these tools. And I've been giving them to my patients. My patients have always said they'd worked, but it wasn't like they would sit down and I'd say, okay, today we're going to work on your neuroplasticity, you know? So I put them together and I used them, and they actually really worked. And I mean, it sounds silly to say that I was surprised, but I was kind of surprised that they work. So I know it sounds crazy, doesn't it? But anyway, it's true. And once that I saw that, and once that happened, I dedicated my whole life to getting these tools into the hands of people who need them. And so I wrote a book that details the tools, and that was the best way that I could think to get them into the hands of people who could really benefit, because I know what it's like to live in what I call Stressville. It's horrible, and I don't want anybody to have to live there. So yeah, I had some experience.
And that is so beautiful, because only when you have been in that darkness, in that stress, can you actually appreciate the privilege, the gorgeous state of being calm. We often, if you don't have lived the extremes, you cannot appreciate the so-called normal. And normal is a weird word. I mean, normal people scare me. Okay, so I'm not normal. This is not how I would describe myself.
Nobody's normal. Who wants to be normal? And perfect
Touché.
people are boring. They're the
Yes.
scariest people on earth.
Thank you. But
Yeah.
we all have got sort of a level where our body feels serene and feels calm and feels good. And that is not the saccharine sweet Coca-Cola advertisement kind of up there. No, those kind of Instagram moments, shall we call them? And that is up there. That is cool. If you have got this exaltation, this beautiful joy pumping through your veins, but that's not normal. So your body needs to calm down at some stage. Equally, those low moments and those not so nice moments, they are not normal. Okay, they need to come back. So, but it's that state here, and that many people don't realize that our society celebrates you being busy. Our society demands you being the man, the woman, the whatever. And it is so hard.
It's a lie.
Touché.
It's a complete lie, right? I mean, I feel honestly like we're coming out of that a little bit, which is a relief. And I think, you know, what you were talking about just a second ago is balance. You want balance. Yeah, you're going to have your highs, you're going to have your lows. And it's not like, I say, I'm not going to help you live in nothing ever bothers me land, because that's not a thing. We live in a stressful world, and sometimes you are going to have things affect you because you're human. But what you want is more balance in your life, more choice on how to deal with it, how to react,
Absolutely. For that, you need to recognize, though, what is happening. And many of us are complete numbnuts when it comes to our own emotions. Honestly, they wrote my life for the better part of 50 years. It was only really 8-9 years ago when I went into rehab after a major burnout and having used far too much alcohol that I suddenly realized, oh boy, my goodness. And so therefore, when you say, let's rephrase that. We are using words like stress, distress, anxiety. These all can become words that mean different things for different people. Let's define them. What is anxiety for you?
Now, this is for me. This is not textbook, okay? For me, anxiety is a feeling. It's very tense. It's almost frenetic, and it feels out of control to me. Like I can't breathe very well, and I don't have a choice in the matter, basically, if that makes sense. It's kind of like it takes me over.
Perfect. And that's exactly how I would define it. That's exactly what happens to me, every day, in all reality. And there are moments that most other people have. The problem is that these moments are not very nice. And for some or many of us, the immediate response is, why do you feel like that? How did you? You are weak. You are.
Yes.
That's how dare you? And then you get the little voices coming up there. Have you been in that situation, or are your patients in that situation?
Of course. And the one thing that this worldwide pandemic has done, because it actually caused so much anxiety and depression, and when we talk about wiring the brain, that'll make sense. But it's opened the conversation and normalized these things a bit more, which makes me really excited, because I will be honest with you. I think every single human goes through periods of their life where they have some anxiety or depression or mental challenges. I just don't think, except maybe the Dalai Lama, but he meditates a lot. And perhaps he can, he can circumvent that. But everyone else, we go through times in our lives that are bigger than we can handle on our own. And when it takes us over, different conditions can result. And I think you're making a really good point that so many people look down on it, or they try to hide it, or they try to say it's not really there. But, this is cliche, but what you resist persists. And it doesn't help people feel any better denying it, does it?
No. So let's go back to basics, because I think right now it's very good to remind all of us that anxiety is basically a state of high adrenaline, noradrenaline coming out there. Now, remember, these are the survival systems that are built in place many tens and hundreds of thousands of years ago. And these are the things that keep you alive. So without that, you walk in front of a bus and think, there's a bus. Boom. Instead, you walk in front of the bus and think, oh shit, and either jump or hopefully not freeze, because then it's again kaboom.
You're bringing up a really good point about stress and adrenaline in that process, because did you know it has 2 phases? So the first phase, the one that you're talking about, the bus phase, is completely unconscious. We don't even have control over that, which, like you're saying, is a good thing, or we would be pummeled, by a bike or a bus or a whatever.
Exactly.
It used to be in case, like something very dangerous was coming at us, you know.
Mm.
But yeah, but then there's that second phase of the stress response where more of those hormones are released and you can stop that phase.
Mm.
Does that make sense? That's
Ve-
the part you can control.
Very much so. But you have to figure out that, or you have to accept that these systems are deep, deep down in your body. And when they get triggered, they are beautiful there. And when I say they get triggered, with that I'm already alluding where I want to go, because there are certain things that are naturally causing those systems to flare up. And as such, these systems, I see them as messengers. And as a messenger, I love them. They tell me, hey, there is something there which absolutely could now destroy your life. And in the case of a saber-toothed tiger, that's held probably quite a bit of truth. In the case of an email, not so sure about that. So therefore, but it's still a messenger. And therefore, as a messenger, it just brings a message. It just tells you something.
I love that. And that's how I love to describe anxiety and depression too. It's your body system trying to tell you something. And even if it is that email, there's a message in that email for you. I mean, is this person invading your boundaries? Are you overextending yourself? Did they say something that offended you in some way? I love looking at it as a messenger because A, then you get your power back, and B, it's the truth.
Exactly right. And I often say that I compare it with a wave in the ocean. So if you're swimming there and suddenly you see this huge wave coming, you can be very upset about that wave. You can tell that wave, yeah, I hate you, wave. You are a mean wave. I don't want you to come. Guess what? That wave is coming. You like it or lump it. So
Right.
you have the choice. You can surf that wave. You can just feel the power of the wave and just experience it for what it is. One way or the other, it will come and it will be gone within a few seconds, maybe a few minutes. So here you go. So you have good choices. Again, moving out of this victimization, self-victimization.
Totally.
Exactly. You have got a
But
choice.
I'm sorry. I will say one thing. When your brain is wired to be stress dominant, right? Anxiety dominant, you have less choice in those situations because those pathways they get activated and you fly down, those worst case scenarios before you even know what's happening. So you do have a choice, but sometimes it takes a minute, and sometimes it's really hard for people to get there. Does that make sense?
Hell of a lot. And as with everything, it takes a hell of a lot of practice. So first of all, to recognize what it is, to actually have that acceptance, to say, okay, fair call. Maybe I looked at it in the past, maybe in a different way. And then what am I going to do about it? What am I, well, we need to come to that first, isn't it? Because we are often our own worst enemies. I certainly, ladies first.
Sorry, can I take you back a step?
Should.
And offer a different solution, because here's the thing. Recognizing ourselves in those moments is really hard when your mind isn't wired to be balanced. It's almost impossible. And I have a whole theory that until you balance your mind, you don't have a fight you can't control it. It's really, really, really difficult. And that was what I experienced for myself. I would go down these paths and think, oh my gosh, but you notice it way down the path, right?
Yeah.
Because your mind isn't balanced enough to catch yourself and give yourself a choice. That's why I'm such a proponent of, doing some exercises, doing some things that can wire the mind to be balanced so that you have a fighting chance.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Where I wanted to go was though us being our worst enemies is often that we strongly contribute to the state of anxiety. Remember, these are messengers. So therefore, if I put my body constantly into a state where there's a threat to my life, then maybe these messengers are quite correct. So, and you think, oh, come on, I live in the United States. What could possibly go wrong? Well, don't get me started. But let's say my life is quite serene. There is no threat to my life. Your body thinks differently. What killed you in the old days? Well, there was no water. Okay, so dehydration. There was no food. So you starved to death. There were injuries, or there was pain somewhere. There was things like that. These things were quite killing you. So your body said, "Oh shit, you better need to be a bit attentive there." Well, let's fast forward to a modern society. Yes, we nourish ourselves on maybe not the healthiest foods. We eat a lot of shit, in other words. Sugars go through the roof and down and left and right. Guess what that all indicates to your body? Oh my God, too much food. Oh my God, too little food. So you've got all those kind of things that give messages there to your brain and say, okay, you need to be anxious. Go out there, get some food. Oh, no, don't get some food. It's very confusing for your brain. Then the sheer fact that you're dehydrated, your body picks that up. Guess what? It says, hey, come on. We need to get some water here. And suddenly your stress levels rise without you not even knowing anything. So hungry, angry, lonely, tired. These are the things that are so contributing to raise base levels of anxiety. God, then that email, whoa, you're off, boy. So that's what I mean. Does your system focus on taking those active steps of rehydration, sleep, etc.? What are your baselines which you tidy up first, or maybe parallel to you giving your clients the tools to affect the neuroplasticity?
Are you talking like diet and lifestyle?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all of the things that you were saying are really, really important. I think diet is huge because, inflammation is caused, for the most part, this is my theory, but in the gut, right? And what causes that inflammation? The foods that you're putting in. Now, it's different for different people, but I will tell you that sugar is always inflammatory, right? So sugar is always going to be stressing out your system. And I think that's one of the biggest things that people can do is do a sugar cleanse. Do it for 2-3 weeks. Now you can titrate off of it, which means eat less and less and less every day. I'm not saying go completely cold turkey, but do it for a month and see how you feel, and see if it does affect your overall stress levels, anxiety levels. And funny enough, the things that you were mentioning, like hungry, angry, lonely, tired, those are big triggers for, substances too, aren't they? And sugar is one of those. But, alcohol and other drugs can also make you anxious and depressed the next day, can't they?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because we think that, this is our crutch. This is our solution. We're self-medicating, and you can self-medicate with sugar. You can self-medicate with food too, or cigarettes, whatever it is. But there's always a price, and I feel like that price is the next day. That's when I really feel
it. No, that's right. My Steps to Sobriety up there is my book, and in there I describe exactly that as anxiety. So not only is your anxiety not gone, but your hangover is there. Anxious.
I love that.
So it is one
it's
of
so
those
true.
things, isn't it? Absolutely.
Yes.
No, you're so right.
I can't tell you, Stephan, I love that book. I'm going to recommend it to people. And it's like, it's so important because people don't understand how linked anxiety and substances, especially alcohol, are.
Oh,
They
yes.
think, oh, I'll just get through this anxious day and then I'll have this medicine again. But the medicine, I mean, you can correct me on this, but it can be your biggest enemy,
Oh, hell yes, absolutely.
right?
And that's the problem. For you drink for a reason, typically to escape reality. In my case, it was often to give myself a second boost of energy. After 2 free glasses of wine, I was suddenly, bing, okay, what can we do? The sheer fact that I just worked 16 hours, and that is neither here nor there. Come on, let's clean up the garage. Put some
Right.
music on. Let's dance. Yeah. Guess what? The next day, you're not even that tired. You were stone tired when you had your first drink. And now God, don't even remind me. So these were stupid times and self-destructive times to the extreme. And needless to say, did I have any appreciation that I was part of the problem? Or
No.
maybe the main problem? Zero, absolute zero. So,
And
guys,
yeah, sorry.
no,
Say
let it, no, we've got that mild delay in the line, so therefore we both want to talk.
Go for it. So, guys, say what you were going to say.
No, I think the reality is many of us are running in that, or are living permanently in that chaos. And I think that is what we need to recognize. So therefore, it is not an easy way out. I don't think any system or any book or any mentor can give you that 90-minute session and then you're done. That's
Right.
it. Congratulations. You're cured.
I am just getting what you were saying earlier about anxiety and stress, because you're right. The first thing you have to do is recognize it. Or you don't even know that you need tools. You don't even know that you need
That was exactly for
help
me.
with it.
Yeah, that was me in a nutshell. I thought that's all normal. What I have got is normal. The sheer fact that someone pushes my trigger and I want to rip their head off, and maybe often did, maybe not so good. Okay, but that was the bad old times. Nowadays, I am still a hothead. I'm still passionate about things, and I still can't stand incompetence and laziness. But nowadays, I just accept that I have got a choice. But in order to do so, I need to accept that, hang on, here's a wave coming. Okay, I want to kill someone. Okay, that is a wave of neurochemicals. So something has happened there. Something has triggered me. What was my baseline? I've recognized what it is. Now I've got a choice. What can I do about it? Okay, deal with the immediate threat. Oh, it's actually not a threat. It's all catastrophizing up there. Cool. So what led to it? Okay, have a glass of water, have a deep breath, maybe meditate, maybe do whatever you can.
Can I offer?
Shoot.
Can I offer a couple things?
Actually, stop me talking. If you want to jump in and say, hey, why don't you try something? And
yeah, we're going to right now.
I was about to say, come on, bring it on.
Let's do it. Because you're right, in those moments. So in those moments, let's talk neural pathways. And we're just going to go negative and positive. It's simplified. I get it. But it's for our purposes is what we need. Right. So in those moments, what pathways are you on?
Adrenaline, noradrenaline.
The negative stress, right?
Yeah.
Negative stress. So what could be effective? Change the pathways. Because if we try to talk ourselves out of the problem, there is a very good chance when our mind isn't balanced that we are going to stay on those stress pathways because they're strong. They're like the Incredible Hulk. They can take over that fast, right? But if we hop onto a completely different subject topic and completely different pathways in those moments, you A, feel better, but B, you start to strengthen those calm and happy pathways. So I want to give you a couple of things right now to maybe try. Okay, cool.
Yeah, right. Please.
Cool. First one I love is called triple thanks. Okay, so in that moment, I'm going to give you two options. The first option is you say, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's the recipe, it's the trick, it's the triple trifecta. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And find something in your immediate environment that you can appreciate. Thank you, thank you, thank you that I'm inside and I'm safe. Thank you, thank you, thank you that my heat is working. Thank you, thank you, thank you that my car started today. Or thank you, thank you, thank you that I have a bus I can take to get to my job. Whatever you think. And when I started, my mind was wired in a way that I had to just start really simple. I had to start with thank you, thank you, thank you. And sorry, but thank you, thank you, thank you. But I can go tinkle inside. Thank you, thank you, thank you for TP. Thank you. Okay, you get the idea. Thank you, thank you, thank you that I have a TV or Netflix or whatever, whatever. Okay, so that's one option. The other option is to say thank you, thank you, thank you, and then think about something you want to have happen. Now, in the beginning, it probably can't be on the topic that's worrying you, because if you bring up that topic, what's going to happen? You're going to go down those paths. But let's say you are having a party that weekend, right? And you're kind of excited about it, but people can get stressed about that kind of stuff. So you say, thank you, thank you, thank you that the party is amazing this weekend. Thank you, thank you, thank you that everybody has a great time. So in this moment right now, Stephan, I want you to try two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One, I want you to say, I'm grateful for something. And the other one, I want you to say, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then insert something and tell me if you feel any difference.
So you think comparing right now? Sorry, okay. So I'll do it. My problem is that I'm using a mildly different system for myself. So therefore, to now switch that system, my system to your system, difficult, because I'm happy and grateful. So therefore, I am priming myself to the state that I'm happy. So I'm happy and grateful that. And that works really, really well for me. So, so thank you for is the same thing. So, what I would do right now, I've got that wave coming over me and being so typically driving to work, and suddenly I'm happy and grateful that I'm actually sitting in this car. I'm happy and grateful that I can afford the petrol that I put in this car. I'm happy and grateful that, yes, there is this gentleman in front of me, but so what? Maybe he has got a shit day. And I'm happy and grateful that I've got the privilege of choice of thinking about it. I'm happy and grateful that I can go to work. Yes, it's going to be a hard day, but I'm happy and grateful that I can bring money in and I can look after my family. Bang, 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 bang. And it comes very quickly. And it quickly changes my state. So it's such a powerful thing. I love it. I love this focus on gratitude. And that can often, by you just forcing your mouth to come, or your brain to come out with those things, then suddenly your life changes. You're changing your state. So therefore, I could not agree more. What your technique does is powerful. It's beautiful. I love it, love it, love it.
Yes, and you're changing those tracks in those moments. So if you can change the tracks in those moments, and if you can stay on them and marinate on, and the good feelings are the really important part of it, aren't they? And so once you do that, you really strengthen those neural circuits in your brain instead of the negative ones. Do you want a breathing exercise in the moments?
Hell yes.
All right. So do you want the short version or the longer version?
Let's do let's do both.
Okay, so let's do the short version first. So everybody knows about diaphragmatic breathing, right? When you breathe all the way down, deep down into your lower belly. And why is that important when you get stressed? Well, because it really strongly tells your body there's no woolly mammoth. You don't have to run from anything right now. Because if you did have to run or fight something, which is what your stress response is made for, you're going to breathe in and out of your chest, and your breaths are going to be shallow, short, quicker, closer together, aren't they? Exactly. So when you breathe down deep into your lower belly and you slow things down, your body says, oh, okay, we don't have to run from anything right now. The strongest way to talk to your body is through your body. Okay, but now we're going to superpower it. And I call it pick your nose, but don't worry, we're not going to pick our nose, but it's going to help you remember it, okay? So you're going to take a finger and you're going to cover your right nostril, and you're going to breathe in and out down into your lower belly only through your left nostril. That is proven to activate your calm nervous system, right? So you're doing two things in those moments to activate the calm nervous system and to stop the stress one.
What I like on it is certainly, I mean, many times broken with my nose. It takes me longer to inhale through that, which again, normally there are different schools that teach you breathe in over the count of 8, hold a bit, and then whatever kind of breathing technique and style you're using. I like that actually to do that. Only the left nostril or the right nostril?
Nope, only left. Right
Only.
nostril activates you. That activates your sympathetic nervous system. Your left nostril activates your parasympathetic nervous system. Yeah, and pranayama breathing is a breathing in the Indian tradition, which is fabulous, and it will balance your nervous systems. But if you're in a state of sympathetic response, you want to activate your parasympathetic. So you just want to be breathing in and out through the left one.
Guys, if you think, oh, she has lost it now, that is actually not true. What Annie says is actually correct. There are sympathetic chains going up in there. Your sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight and flight kind of thing. As an anesthetist, I often numb shoulders for shoulder surgery. And in order to do so, we put local anesthetic about here, which numbs the shoulder, and then we send the patient off to sleep and they wake up without any pain. Bingo. As a side effect of that, we actually numb also that sympathetic chain. So it's quite common that we just switch that off as well on that side. Now, interestingly enough, if I do right-sided blocks, there's a tendency for the heart to go slower. So it's not uncommon that we actually see a difference when we take one side out to the other side, that it's a bit like the motorbike, where you speed up with the right. Well, if you take the right side out, you don't speed up. There you go. So that is something I see in daily practice every week. So what Annie says is not mumbo jumbo, but is actually makes sense. I can actually work with that. So here you go. Beautiful, beautiful. So left nostril.
So pick your nose the right way. So on the right side. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to do it in the grocery store, but I mean, if you do, people can ask you what you're doing. You can help them out.
Touche.
Right?
Touche. I'll then be prepared for an interesting communication, interesting discussion there. Now, that's a cool trick. I like that. So essentially, you're using gratitude. You're using simple, actually manipulating the system, manipulating your body as such. So you're switching on the parasympathetic nervous system. For you out there, that's just the beautiful system that allows us to calm down, to rest. That is in that state, that is where your sleep happens. That's where the healing happens. That's where so much resetting in your body happens. That's a beautiful state. And that's what we want to achieve with you being in a spa or meditating or etc.
Yes. And those are just two tiny tools that I give over a 6-week period. I mean, yes, gratitude is important, but I also think that gratitude can be wonderful, but it can also become a rote exercise after a while. So that's what I try to avoid. But I also bring different things in, like best possible self exercises, using photographs, using visualization, using, all of these different things which activate those pathways in your mind, right?
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Do you want a little, do we have time to do the whole? Okay. So the breathing is called high five breathing. Okay. And I'll tell you why. So your first step, just think of something you appreciate, because that can help you get into the state. Second step, and we're not going to add your pick your nose yet. So second step, you breathe in for everything's based on 5. You breathe in for 5 counts, you pause for 5 counts, you breathe out for 5 counts, you pause for 5 counts. This is also called box breathing. I did not make this up. Navy SEALs use this. It's very effective too. Okay. But I give it a 5 count because you get a high 5 for remembering to breathe like this when you're stressed out. Right.
Yeah, okay.
And it helps people remember the count. I was doing 4-7-8 breathing, which is what Dr. Weil likes people to do. And it was just high 5 breathing, just end of the day, just 5 counts, you're good. Right. And you breathe all the way down, deep down into that lower belly, because obviously we talked about why. And then you pick your nose the right way. And that's the whole thing.
Beautiful. The reality is also, if you guys think, well, how is this breathing actually working? That's not just me taking a breath. How can that switch something on? We're actually not 100% sure why and how, what exactly happens. But I can tell you that the sympathetic nervous system runs along the spine, as sort of a chain, literally like a chain ladder there, whilst the parasympathetic nervous system is sort of mainly in your pelvis, mainly in your brain. But there's one big nerve that runs down in the center of your body through the chest, and it needs to go through the diaphragm. And that's the vagus nerve. So that's the main parasympathetic nerve. So here you are. I mean, that is constantly sort of going through the diaphragm. And if you take deep breaths, you're basically stretching and massaging that nerve. And this parasympathetic nervous system says, oh, yeah, okay. That's nice. Oh, that's nice, like having a little rub. And so this is all what we're doing here. This is all not mumbo jumbo. That is all us hijacking our body in the right way. We are learning how our body really works, and we're using our own physiology against the not so nice aspects of our brain, of our mind, of our emotions, and that's cool. So this is not mumbo jumbo, guys. This is hardcore survival medicine for the soul. Let's put it like that. Maybe hard words, and you think, oh my God, where is he going? But bottom line is, if you suffer from heightened levels of anxiety, if you indeed are like 1 in 5 young women who suffer from an anxiety disorder. When I say young women, I mean teenagers here. This is a huge burden on you. It can be paralyzing. Now, wouldn't it be great if we can come up with ways how to alleviate that, change that, put you back into the driver's seat rather than being the victim of that disorder? And that's exactly what Annie does. Annie, you are a godsend probably to many people. If people want to know more about you, where can they find you?
Well, I'm on the online. So DrAnnieWhite.com, ANNIE White. Oh, doctor spelled out DOCTOR. And my book is called The Calm Code. And they can grab it, on Amazon or Barnes and Noble or Apple Books or, all the things. Yeah. And
Perfect.
I love the way that you described the vagus nerve activation for that breathing technique. That was great. And also your motorcycle analogy. I love both of them.
These are the things that I see in daily practice as an anesthetist, and it's beautiful. So it just it confirms for me that some of these things are not just, I don't know, witch doctor kind of stuff. No, not at all. But it also reminds me that the body is such a wonderful, wonderful thing, and that we know so little about it, and that all those people out there who are experimenting with maybe prolonging our lives, i.e. living healthier and living a more satisfied lives. There's so many people who have got such beautiful things to offer. And I guess that is why I'm doing this show. I'm bringing on people like you, Annie, and I walk away today from this show enriched. Yes, I had to get up at 6 in the morning. Yes, it took me a moment to actually think, well, am I here? And now I'm buzzed. I feel good because I have grown. I have transformed in that 1 hour. And for that, I'm so grateful to you, Annie, because you honed back in for me to, okay, where do I need to go? Where do I need to go today to live a better day, to become the man who I want to be? And that is great. So, Annie, amazing talk this morning, amazing discussion. Guys, if you want to know more about Annie, go down there to the description of the YouTube video and of the podcast. All the links are down there. Go get her book and get yourself sorted there and experiment, learn. But as with everything, sometimes you can't do it alone. And really, if you want to be successful in business, you put a power team around yourself where you are the dumbest person in the team. Okay. Therefore, you grow, you learn constantly. Maybe getting in touch with Annie might help you if you're suffering from anxiety and if that is your main driver at the moment, or it's driving you nuts, let's call it that kind of driver, then maybe just, pick up the phone, dial the information, and we'll see. Maybe in a year or two, you're a very different person, and get in touch with me and say, hey, Stephan, great show. Can I come onto your show? Because I have developed something new. Who knows? Okay, guys, live your life with passion. Go out there and learn, and get over to Annie's social media links and to her website and find out more. Annie, you're a gorgeous woman. Thank you so much for coming onto my show. I'm incredibly grateful for your time and effort today.
Thank you. And I appreciate your podcast. I think it's fabulous, such great information. And every single episode I listen to, I get so much out of. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Annie, look after yourself, and you guys out there, live with passion. Bye.
I never give up. I never give up. I never give up. Trying